That's the sign for the start. The Kangaroos stood eyeing off the Kiwis there, around about 15 metres away.
Bird plays now, whether he likes to play as a traditional 5'8", looking to ignite the outside backs, or whether or not he's going to use his running game. That's a great example of how powerful he can be running the ball.
Cameron Smith just inside the Kiwis half, Sivanasiva.
And Luke Cavell, no good, leaves the field as the Kiwis work it off their own line. The right arm hanging as Cavell makes his way off. And number 15, Shontaine Harpy.
Here in New Zealand, and his father these days works out of Papua New Guinea, had made the trip down to see his son on debut.
Harpy playing the duration on this right wing as Cameron Smith finds Steve Price, brought into the run on side, relegating Brent Kite to the bench.
Price 5 metres inside the Kangaroos half.
He was a great player himself, and he was the assistant coach back in the mid-90s for the World Cup. He's bided his time, and now along with the likes of James Muller.
After Folau took a good run out, penalty to the Kangaroos, so quickly turns against the Kiwis, and a kick from Roberts wasn't on the last. Now Steve Price back up to halfway. He will...
He's looking for Gasnier, who'd come in lurking around the middle of the ruck.
Now Australia shift it left, and a nice short pass for Hoffman, off Greg Bird, and Hoffman able to stand on the tackle. It comes back for Price, he's inside the Kiwis 20. And now the hard work begins for New Zealand. Cameron...
that situation, and he did so. Steve Price gets a football now, mistake. Ryan Hoffman.
From Wellington, and Australia through Israel Folau, leading by 6 points to 0. Exciting stuff to see this young bloke on test debut.
And I'm sure you'll find the first man.
The Kangaroos. I just like the fact that Cameron Smith is surging out of dummy half. Sometimes he gets a little bit too team conscious, doesn't get selfish enough to display.
Sets the alarm bells ringing and is wrapped up 35 metres away from the New Zealand line. Quick play the ball. Price is going to add to the roll on. He's only 20 away, and the Kiwis are under the pump right now.
With their descriptions, aren't they? Little signals they give.
Lee Mason is 12 metres away from the line. Entering there to make the tackle with Smith. Now some footwork from Stephen Price. He's got over. The Warriors captain has scored against New Zealand in his 11th test, his first since 2005. And the veteran of the side follows up the kid to score here in test footy.
Yep, both ends. Youngest and oldest have got to cross the line, and both, well, they'll be soft tries in relation to the defence from New Zealand. Israel Folau went through 4. Steve Price, who shows a little bit of footwork, he's not noted for that, gets close to the line. There's a bit of a shuffle. Beats Lima. Asatasi drops off, gets under Inu. All too simple.
He's always had a great right foot step, Stephen Price. When he runs to his left-hand side of the field, he tends to go away across field. But it's when he runs on the right-hand side of the play the ball that he can really straighten up sharply off the right foot that his most damaging runs come. And that time there, he singled out Lima.
So the Kangaroos have possession, and Price, who's having a stormer, he's up to halfway. He's over half. Halatau back out there, so they've got both of their starting dummy halves. Halatau will slot into the back row. Thing right.
Well, especially for the back line, it was a test of opportunity as we see Steve Price come into the right. No Matt King, so there's an opportunity in the centres. Carmichael Hunt, well, it's going to be an ongoing.
They haven't discarded Matty Bowen altogether. Lucky not to make the squad. Jeremy Smith, 5 short of halfway for the Kiwi. First man up there with Moi Moi. Cameron Smith on for Steve Price. Again running at Moi Moi. Pira involved there as well. Price, one of the try scorers from the first half. He's been the lone forward. Was indeed. Now for Cooper Cronk, and he turns inside. The Australians are threatening. Steve Price, he offloads. Now the ball with Gidley. Hindmarsh got it back. Oh, they're flying through. You know who's flying? It's Greg Bird to score.
Of course he is.
On debut.
That's amazing. I remember this is going back as far from the 70s and 80s when I used to watch Test football and watch players who used to be dour and grind their way away in club football. Suddenly they'd wear the green and gold jersey, and there was this inspiration to suddenly be able to pass the ball and run quickly and step. And I remember those invincible...
First
It is 40-0 here at the Cake Tin in Wellington after next year. Maybe down the track, Queensland looking at a half 5'8", Gronk halfback, Thurston 5'8" in Origin.
They're in a good situation there, aren't they? And of course, Danny Medeiros, you know, he'll burst back, probably decide that he'll finish at the end of the World Cup if he gets an opportunity as Moi centre field.
Good run, 18 metres out from the line. Been a while since.
What a luxury playing on the end of this Australian back line. Must be wonderful to wingers to come into the Australian side. Ireland are at the moment. I could go back to Australia and get you 3 more teams that would come out here and beat New Zealand. There are 3 teams sitting at home that could come out here and beat the Kiwis at the moment.
Simon is replacing Stacey Jones. Now retired from representative football. Jeremy Smith is not the answer as a cutout pass again finds a flying Greg.
There he goes down. Held up on tackle number 1. Cameron Smith comes across field, but Price is thinking about a second try. The old bloke away for 7 this morning, having been knocked out of the Rugby World Cup. They've taken it a lot tougher than the Australians with the Wallabies making their exit. A lot of sad faces, very grim time, and now their rugby league side has been tailed up, and it is right now. They work right side with Ben Roberts for Jeremy Smith, looking a little more lively for Mannering. He's just inside the 30.
Ben Roberts, short ball to Simon Mannering, who hasn't stopped trying all afternoon. 4
for the Kangaroos. So one more score for the Kangaroos. They'll have their biggest ever win over New Zealand in Test match number 100. Mason's on the charge again. Mannering does extremely well to make the tackle.
Well, he was the man who got pushed off originally. He kept at it, Simon Mannering.
Cooper Cronk dumps it off for Price. Price is held 9 metres from the line. Jeremy Smith locked up the ball there over the top. The bench today. Steve Price was magnificent. Bird had some wonderful highlights to look at. And contributors right across the board for the Kangaroos today. Mark Gazier knocked unconscious in the first half.